And welcome back to the Engage A podcast here on a beautiful Wednesday night. News just broke. Guess who it is? Of course, Jim Harbaugh. Jim Harbaugh is leaving for the NFL, going to coach the Los Angeles Chargers. What does that mean? I don't know. I don't really follow the NFL that much. Justin Herbert, he's going to be able to work with definitely some older talent on that team. Probably going to need a little bit of rebuilding, but nonetheless, probably will draft Roman Wilson to the team, be one of the slot receivers for them. It's kind of funny to get a little bit off topic before we really address, what does this really mean for Michigan football? The legacy that Jim Harbaugh had at Michigan, and Robby would be able to tell you everything, that has happened because that man is the hardest, like most diehard Michigan fan that I probably know. He follows them more than anything. Robby, like if he could live as a Michigan football fan, make like a certain amount of money a year just being a fan of Michigan, he would totally do it. He would do it every day of the week. I mean, who wouldn't be a fan of a team making money for it? But regardless, no, Robby is a very passionate fan. And we plan on recording an episode on Sunday after, obviously the Lions, the 49ers play. We plan on recording an episode, getting that out. We want to talk some transfer portal stuff, obviously stuff with the coaching carousel, and, now with this happening. And hopefully the job's got to stay open for 7 days according to Michigan State law. So whether they're going to promote Sharon Moore as the offensive coordinator or they want to do a national coach search, that's up to the administration, up to the directors, boosters. I believe it would be Sharon Moore. If considering he beat Ohio State and Penn State, I mean, those are the two best teams in the Big Ten over the course of like the last 2 years, I'd say, maybe three. Mixing Michigan State there. Yeah, I think Sharon should be the guy. I really do. He did everything that he was asked to do, when Harbaugh was not with the team, and he held it together and brought some big moments with him as well. Obviously, we played the interview back what week did they play Penn State? Was it week 12? Yeah, week 12, week 11. We played the interview that he had with Fox that had to get cut out because it was a very emotional interview. But I mean, he just won a big game on the road. Couldn't ask for anything more. All right. Before we get into what I have to say about the departure, and this is filmed terribly, so please roast Robby for this because it's halfway. Whatever. We're going to show what Robby has to say. Robby wasn't able to make it. He's doing some stuff with his work, and this is why we plan on recording Sunday. We didn't think this was going to happen today. We thought maybe over the weekend we could get to it on Sunday. No, it has to happen Wednesday at like 6 o'clock. So this is what Mr. Elliott had to say.
Engage A podcast. What is up? It is Robby Elliott. And it is a sad day for all of you Engage 8 faithfuls. I am the one of the biggest Michigan fans. Love this university. Have been reveling just in the glory that comes with being a fan of a national championship team. Now, today's a sad day. Watching Jim Harbaugh depart. It is sad because, he's a legend. He's a legend forever, and so he's sad to see legends go. However, am I upset that he is going out this way? Absolutely not. A Michigan legend just deserves a departure the way Harbaugh is getting it. He's leaving a national champion. He's also there's nothing bad you can say about the man now. He did what he needed to do. This is why he came to Michigan, and he stayed, and he was a champion. Now, as for what I think is going to happen in the future, it's simple. Michigan's going to hire the man that beat Ohio State, that beat Penn State, and ultimately is a big part of the reason why this team was in the position that they were this year. Mr. Sharon Moore. I know it is not official, but it is unofficially official. I'm so excited to watch what you have to do as the next head coach of the Michigan Wolverines and Ohio State. If you think that you're just winning the offseason because, we've had a ton of guys to clear for the draft, we haven't been hitting the portal, and we just lost our head coach. If I remember correctly, Sharon Moore beat you. He is the head coach that beat you. So have fun next year, Buckeyes. And go blue forever.
So obviously, Robbie's a very passionate fan. Great message from him. I wouldn't want to hear it any other differently from a Michigan fan. He talks about Ohio State. We'll get into that. We'll get into, more of the business that they've been doing, obviously, with Julian Sand coming in and just all of this craziness that is happening. And apparently they're spending $13 million, which I wanted to talk about with Robbie, but now that I'm here, I might as well bring it up. No. But so what does Jim Harbaugh leaving mean for Michigan football, right? Obviously, this is a guy that really wanted to be the successor of Michigan, obviously playing quarterback there. And ironically enough, he played quarterback with the Chargers too. But that's besides the point. As you'll see in the thumbnail, when you click on the video, and leave a like and subscribe as well, because the Engage A podcast wants to make 2024 our year. And we only can make that more happen, or we can make that happen with your support. So leave a like, subscribe, do all the things that you should already be doing. So why not already do it? Be a part of it. Better now than never. Uh, no. But what I'm going to get back to is Jim Harbaugh leaving. Obviously, having an 89-25 record at Michigan, it was not beautiful from the start. If you remember in that 2020 COVID season, they played that game against Ohio State. He should be gone. He should be gone. And probably never, people were wanting him gone. People that were like, I don't know if he's the guy. Maybe Michigan football needs someone else, which Michigan's actually a way harder place to play, or I guess succeed at, than you'd really think. Like, it's not as easy as like Texas or Alabama. Michigan has academic standards. And yes, it's very important to get a player with like, high GPA. And like, obviously that means they're attentive and they're doing the right stuff. They're going to class. They're doing what they're supposed to be doing also on the field, off the field, etc. Like, that's what you want. But Michigan is a academic school, and it's not the easiest place to recruit. You don't get a ton of guys from the South. You don't get this. You don't get that. And something that I thought of really, and I was listening to something about Ohio State earlier with one of the Ohio State beat guys. Ohio State and teams like Ohio State, Georgia, Alabama, all 85 guys on the roster are probably better than, or more deeper than Michigan's. But Michigan's top 35, arguably just as good or better, right? Like the top 30 guys on the roster, the guys that are going to get significant playing time, playing in the games like the national championship, Big Ten title games, games like Ohio State, Penn State, like those guys that are getting significant amount of playing time and being added into these rotations, whether it's on the D line or the receiving room, or they're switching offensive line around if a guy needs a break, all of that. Like those guys on Michigan this season were just as good as about anyone else. And it might be like that next year. They're returning a lot of guys on defense. They don't lose all that much. I saw something about the All-American Dream Team from On3, and I think it was an ESPN article. They got two guys in the secondary that are going to be legit coming back, in Will Johnson and obviously Rod Moore. So Mason Graham, Kenneth Grant, like Josiah Stewart, like a lot of those guys coming back really mean a lot to this team. And, they got guys in depth as well. Like they got depth. They got guys that are going to be ready by next season. I haven't hit this winter portal window too heavily. I believe that they're going to really kill it in the spring. Guys that, are not seeing a significant role, or they're like, oh, I'm a lot better than where I'm playing, like a group of 5 kid or small power 5, like Ladarius Henderson at Arizona State transfers over. Phenomenal at Michigan. Like you couldn't ask for anything better. So Josiah Stewart, Coastal Carolina. It's like, go play at Michigan. Ernest Hausman, Nebraska. Like all these guys, there's a lot of these guys that are not getting the opportunity that they believe they can deserve, and Michigan kind of provides them that place. They're kind of that branch. Like we could develop you into the player you want to be as long as you're willing to put in the work, and you could play on the field and potentially go to the college football playoff and win a national championship. Like that is the transfer portal pitch right there. That is what it is. And it works because obviously, if you haven't seen the success of Michigan last 3 seasons under Coach Harbaugh, 3 Big Ten titles, national championship, 3 college football playoff appearances. The way he ended is what he went out on top. He literally went out on top being the national champion. And it was either leave Michigan. I feel like what he wanted to accomplish at Michigan. He won the national title. He's not hungry for more. He's not like, oh, I need to keep getting more and more and more. He still hasn't won a Super Bowl. He's gone to the Super Bowl game. He hasn't won a Super Bowl yet. So He believes he can do that with the Chargers. Chargers have a quarterback of the future for a very long time. He's good with talent. Like, was JJ McCarthy utilized in the way that we want him to be utilized? No. But guess what? He used McCarthy's talent and ability into the way for them to be a national title team. Like, he's a great assessor of talent. I don't think people realize that. Like, he's not looking for the guys that are like, oh, 5-star this, 5-star that, 5 stars that. No, he's wanting guys that are willing to work and willing to get better and improve. Jim Harbaugh will get the most out of your players. He will get them to develop the best they can be. Even when Michigan wasn't, this national powerhouse team, there's guys that were really good on those Michigan teams in the late teens, like Donovan Peoples-Jones. Oh my God, Jabril Peppers, like Jake Butt, great player. Like, there's a lot of these guys that, Michigan's just been putting guys in the NFL and been producing a lot of high level talent at the college level. And, that 2021 team, I mean, David Ajabo, Aiden Hutchinson, like those guys were great as well. Like, he is a great guy at recognizing talent, and he is able to do the best with the talent he's got. And obviously, is Jesse Minter going with them? Because if Jesse Minter goes with them, I think that might be a little bit of a game changer on what might happen with this defense that's supposedly allowed to return. But also, you're going to be going with Sharon Moore. I'm assuming you're going to make an in-house hire at defensive coordinator, not really looking from the outside. Who knows? Who knows? I mean, would it make sense to do a national hire? Like, would it? Who would be better? Unless you're getting Urban Meyer, because that would be hilarious. That's not happening, guys. I also made a tweet. I was looking through my mentions on Twitter, and I found something about Ryan Day should pull a Kevin Durant. If you don't know who Kevin Durant is, first of all, you're probably living under a rock, or you've just never watched a minute of basketball in your life. Remember, Kevin Durant lost to the Golden State Warriors after they blew a 3-1 lead in the conference finals. I want to say it was 2016. I'm a huge Thunder fan. Russell Westbrook's my favorite NBA player of all time, just for a little bit of context to this. But I remember specifically Kevin Durant blew a 3-1 lead to Golden State, which ironically they blew a 3-1 lead in the NBA Finals in 2016. And then he was like waiting this decision, taking a lot of meetings with different teams, Thunder, Spurs, I think Clippers. There's a lot of teams, Knicks. And then I remember on 4th of July, because I remember getting the notification on my phone. Meanwhile, I'm probably like, that was 2016. So I was like 13 years old, 14. And I saw that. I'm like, really? Really? And then obviously the rest is history. Wins 2 NBA championships. And now he's in Phoenix. Anyways, besides the point, the comparison I'm trying to make is, should Ryan Day, after all spending this $13 million in the portal, that's not, maybe I think what it really is that Ohio State is spending $13 million as a total in their NIL collective with all these guys that are staying and everything. Like, that seems more reasonable, especially with 2 recruiting wins as well, the D tackle, and then I can't remember his name, and then obviously Jeremiah Smith, the receiver. Like, you need money to tame those guys. You got Ibuka, Tyleik Williams, Denzel Burke, Jack Sawyer, Travion Henderson, like all these guys coming back, Donovan Jackson. Like, you need money to keep those guys as well. I don't think Will Howard really would have cost that much for you. I mean, you were competing with USC, and we saw how Miller Moss played in that bowl game. Like, I think it's pretty apparent that if he has weapons to throw to, I think they'll be all right. If they want to go after someone in the spring window, like I say, Noah Fafito's really not happy with actually the situation at Arizona, and him and McMillan get a bag and want to go to USC. Yeah, obviously they're going to offer that kid money. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen. I think McMillan, and shout out to Brett Brennan. That's a really good hire by Arizona to get the San Jose State coach. And then obviously Jed Fish going to Washington. We haven't been here to talk about that. I think Jed Fish to Washington, I think we'll keep some stability. I think it will keep somewhat of a winning culture and not happen what happened with Jimmy Lake at Washington. So I think that's both pretty good hires. I mean, San Jose State's arguably like harder. Like, the only jobs that are probably harder are like service academies and then like Stanford. Like, it's really hard to win at San Jose State, but you're competing with a lot of teams in region. Really hard to go reach out to those kids from Texas. Like, oh, come move to California, come to San Jose State. Like, no, like, it's a really hard job 4 out of 5 winning seasons. Like, that's a really good job by Brennan. And obviously now, um, he's at Arizona and he's got a really talented quarterback, a really talented receiver, arguably a pretty good defense, although 2 D linemen just jumped in the portal. You don't have Jonah Coleman. He's going to Washington. A lot of these guys are leaving. Jacob Cowing's going to the draft, a guy that was pretty successful last season in the receiving room. So what will happen? I don't know. We got to wait and see till next year. And obviously, Arizona is going to be one of those teams that we're going to watch spring practice and their spring game on. And we're going to be like, oh, okay, how do we assess this? How good do we think they'll be going into the Big 12? Because they could win the Big 12 title this year. I don't think that's out of the realm of possibilities. It's probably them, Utah, Kansas, and Kansas State. I'd put those as my 4 favorites right now. Maybe Oklahoma State. We'll see. They are retaining Ollie Gordon, so who knows? But no, like what I'm saying is that all these coaching changes that have happened, a lot of them coming more recently. Like we had 3 significant coaching moves in about a week span, and now we got this one as well with obviously Saban retiring 2 weeks ago, and then DeVore, Fish, Brennan, and now Harbaugh. So I know Robby said that Sharon Moore is going to be the next head coach, right? But in a theoretical world or a hypothetical world, however you want to put it, that they don't hire Sharon Moore or Sharon Moore follows Jim Harbaugh to the NFL. Because I know Kellen Moore is taking jobs. The Chargers OC right now is taking jobs to be looking at another head coaching job. We'll see. If Sharon Moore and Jesse Minter follow him to the NFL, like who does Michigan replace it with? Brian Kelly's a really hot name. Robbie's mentioned to me multiple times, like, if we lose Harbaugh and Sharon Moore doesn't come back. This is the Robbie face, by the way. Good Brian Kelly. So, no, maybe, I don't know. I think LSU's just probably as good of a job. You just hired an offensive coordinator and you have a bunch of talent leaving, I guess. So maybe if this is when you want to lead, this when you want to lead, you lose one of your important tackles. If you want to get Harold Perkins to transfer to Michigan, God, wouldn't that just be amazing? I mean, it's not that bad of a situation, I guess, for him if he wanted to leave, but I don't know. We'll see. Plus, you could probably get Nussmeier or Walker Howard to transfer over, right? Like that's exactly what you want to do. Maybe I don't know. Wait, no, Walker Howard's not at LSU. What am I talking about? He's at Ole Miss. That's right, because he's behind Jackson Dart. That's a brain fart. Yeah, but I mean, you got Nussmeier, and you could also in the recruiting world, number 1 quarterback in the 2025 class, Bryce Underwood is from Belleville, Michigan. I don't know if he's leaving or not. There's me and Robbie have been talking about this for a while because not that we are a high school football podcast because we're not. That's not what we're extremely passionate about. It's about the college game, but we follow recruiting and Bryce. And I had the pleasure of my team getting torched by him in my freshman year. I think that game was like 49-9. Yeah. Anyways, obviously one of the most talented kids, and I think he's coming back to Belleville. But if you want to be Brian Kelly and you want to flip his commitment to Michigan, that's not going to be that hard. Belleville and Ann Arbor, probably like a 20-30 minute difference, if that. And you'd be able to get Brian Kelly's a really good recruiter. If you've seen Brian Kelly and Lane Kiffin are probably the 2 SEC head coaches that get made most fun of because of like all the recruiting videos that they do and stuff. But he recruits really hard. And, he's going to have a lot of these guys. I don't know if you leave LSU though, because you're keeping good offensive linemen. I know you lose Alan Hurd to Tennessee, but I think you're still probably fine. The defense concerning, especially that secondary, because who are you going to throw out there? I have no idea. But you got Harold Perkins. You can figure the rest out. That's going to be a team that's actually going to be really hard to assess going into the spring and stuff. Definitely going to be a lot of guys that you want to see play in the spring game and see what they really think that there are. And I know there's a series, one of 3 stars better than a 5-star by Thad Boy. Check it out on TikTok, YouTube, wherever you want to see it. Definitely worth the watch. It's really entertaining. I've been on Thad Boy for a while now. I've been watching him since I was going into my junior year of high school. So it's been about 2.5 years. And he's a really entertaining content creator, and he definitely deserves the praise. So if you haven't checked him out already, go check out his stuff. Hilarious guy, hilarious guy. Uh, yeah, I'm just plugging people for free, I guess. No, what I will say is that Brian Kelly, he could, he most definitely could. I think that's would be the only out of house hire that like Michigan would be like, oh, he's actually interested. Okay, we might not hire Sherrone Moore because Brian Kelly's proven. I mean, pretty good at Notre Dame, pretty good at LSU. Why not? Why not? Right? Why not? Who else? Because I saw this article from The Athletic. I was like Lance Leipold, he's not leaving Kansas. He's been rumored to like all these jobs. And I'm like, yes, he is a very good coach. That's not something to disagree with. He's going to level Kansas too. I just don't think if he was going to leave Kansas, it would be this year. You're returning Neal. You're returning Daniels. You got a lot of guys on defense that you're able to return. I don't see why you would want to, right? Like, Kansas is set up to be in a good position. They're one of the Big 12 favorites. They could win the Big 12. They could go to the college football playoff. I would no, I'm not going to say that. Like there's no reason to. Oh, sorry, dude. My throat's been acting up. I mean, Chris Kleiman, yeah, he's won national championships at North Dakota State. Do I mean, I don't know. They're acting okay. They're saying can they recruit at a top 10 level? I don't know if you watched or saw recruiting. Michigan doesn't finish in the top 10 every year. They finish like top 15-ish. Like they're a top 25 team in recruiting, but they're not getting the guys that are going to be like, oh, this is going to create a ton of buzz on Twitter, and we're going to get this big commitment from this guy and this guy and this guy, and we're going to have blah blah blah. Michigan doesn't do all that. They're not for the cameras. They're not. If you've seen everything, not for the hype, not for the attention. They just want to play football, man. They want to play football and they want to have a good time. They have a really nice culture there. And obviously, if you hire Sherrone Moore, that's what you want to do is keep that culture established. Matt Campbell, dude, he's been rumored for everything. I honestly don't know if he's ever going to leave Iowa State. I don't. I think if Ohio State were to come over and again, I think he would take that. About it. Maybe take like I don't know. Maybe Minnesota, but Iowa State might be a better job than Minnesota. Yeah, I can't think of anything. I think Matt Campbell's fine at Iowa State. Iowa State's doing a fine job. Like, yeah, they were playing in a Big 12 championship game like 3 years ago. And I know they haven't been the greatest, but they've been solid. They've been consistent. They just played in a bowl game. Like, you're acting like this team is terrible. And they got a young talent at running back, too. They had a very big game last season. Luke Fickell, I mean, I guess, yeah. I don't know why you'd leave Wisconsin after one season because you just got Tyler Van Dyke to transfer there and you're trying to work with Phil Longo and get something established. I know you lose Braylon Allen, but you got Mazzulli coming back. I don't know. I just don't see it. You also got Tyrell Henry coming. He's going to be a good receiver for you, hopefully, and a good returner. Yeah, I mean, I just don't see going anywhere outside of Sherrone Moore. I don't know why you would. I couldn't really think of like any other candidates that'd be like willing to take this job, right? Because you got to have some Midwest experience. Kalen DeBoer would have been perfect for this job. I'm going to be completely honest with you. He would recruit at a little bit higher of a level, but the recruiting expectations wouldn't be like what they're going to be like at Alabama. Um, yeah, I don't like, I think Sherrone Moore is probably the best option here. Like, I'd say maybe Brian Kelly, but I don't think Kelly would honestly. I mean, he would recruit fine. He'd recruit fine, yeah. Yeah. I mean, what if Sark wants to take the job, which he's not, because Texas arguably might be the best job, that or Georgia. Uh, like, there's no reason. I seriously believe that Sherrone Moore, he's got the coaching experience there, but like not just that. Like, if you heard this guy talk, and I know he's only talked to cameras like a few amount of times, but the times he's talked, like it's been noticeable, it's been impactful. Like people are watching. He knows what to say. My only concern is, will he ever let emotions get the best of him? He seems like that type of person, obviously, in that Penn State interview. But I think he's a very professional guy. I think he's a very professional head coach. He knows how to game plan. I think he'd honestly probably be a better recruiter than Harbaugh. He's not going to have to buy him a cheap. I'll chill, or have a sleepover. Yeah, Harbaugh's a weird dude, but can't negate anything he's done in his coaching career because I mean he's a national champion. Yeah, I can't can't go wrong with you there. Um, I mean, yeah, I don't see why you would go anything else. Ron Moore's leader, and that's proven. And if he doesn't get the job there, good luck. Good luck playing him somewhere where he goes in the Big Ten or SEC or Big 12. Takes a head coaching job there and does probably a damn good job because, yeah, I believe this is going to be the guy. Uh, yeah, I mean, I got nothing else because there's no one leaving. Like, if no one's going to leave for the Alabama job, no one's probably going to leave for the Michigan job. That's just how it is. What I will say is that, like Robby said, Ohio State, that's gonna be a game next year. That is wow. Sherrone Moore is, and Robby already said that Sherrone Moore is gonna be a head coach, but he also didn't say Harbaugh was gonna leave in the first place. So and Robby's been wrong before. As have I. I've been wrong plenty of times. And that's the thing. That's the thing with all these talking heads. They don't want to ever admit what they're wrong. They only want to put out what they're right. I've been wrong plenty of times. I've had my rights, like the Louisville. We'll go back to that. That's one of the greatest takes that's ever been featured on this podcast. Um, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like Ohio State, you gotta win next year. This is the topic I want to get into. I don't know why I had to pause and think about it for a second, but this is really the direction I want to go. Okay, so Ohio State is going to be reloaded, reloaded and adding some more baggage. Okay, this is how I want to put it. Ohio State, so you know how there's a salary cap in basketball, football, all these professional sports except baseball. Baseball's weird. I don't know how it works. What Ohio State did is what a lot of these professional organizations that are trying to push for a championship, they went over the salary cap, got into the luxury tax, and they're trying to sell out because there's going to definitely be a penalty along the way with it. Now there's no salary cap in NIL yet. Um, so maybe are they really going to lose out? I don't know. This is the year that if Ohio State wants to make the national championship, probably do it because they are going to lose a lot of talent next year. And while they do recruit at a very high level, it's going to be a young team and there's going to be a lot of frustration. It's going to be similar to that 2021 team with CJ Stroud, Marvin Harrison Jr. being a sophomore. I mean, you still had Gary Wilson and Chris Olave. But I mean, it's going to be a frustrating defense too, probably. You'll have Caleb Downs, I guess, but like you're going to lose a lot of you're going to lose three guys up front. You're gonna you might not lose that much linebackers. You'll probably have CJ Hicks, hopefully. Let's go to the draft. You'll lose Styles probably, and then obviously you'll lose Burke and probably I can't say it. I'm not gonna try to say it. Number one, Noah. Yeah, that's what I referred to as because I haven't watched broadcast game of college football since the national championship, so I can't. I want to say it's Nzabaka. Yeah, that's what I mean. Noah, that's what we'll refer to him as. Number one, very good corner. You're gonna lose a lot, and it's going to be hard to reload that talent. It's going to be not necessarily in the sense like you're getting also a lot of game experience back. Like Will Howard, that man in 2022 won a freaking Big 12 championship. Now did they get routed by Alabama? Yeah, they did. But they were playing their stars. Yeah, I mean, Kansas State was good, but yeah, they had Avery Johnson. Avery Johnson's going to be a stud. That kid's like one of the most underlooked quarterbacks in the nation, and Kansas State's going to do good with him. And Will Howard spent his whole career that he's played in splitting time. He split time with Adrian Martinez that year that they won the Big 12 championship. Now he was the starter at the end of the season because they figured out, oh wow, this kid's actually like kind of good. I don't think he's really a difference maker. He's not a difference maker. He's not a game changer. He is a game manager. He's a glorified game manager. I would say, we're gonna use this term, Jag. I think he's a Jag plus. You don't know what Jag is? Just an average guy. Uh, I think he adds a little bit of value. I think he would probably be better than what their quarterback room is right now. Obviously, you have a whole offseason to develop. I wish Devin Brown would stay healthy because I seriously still have a lot of belief in the kid. Lincoln Kyle he's a project. He is a guy that you need to sit for 2 years and eventually give him the keys and see what he can do. And I don't think if they're going to throw out Lincoln out there, you might as well throw away the season. I just don't think he's personally ready. And then obviously you're not going to throw out Aaron Nolan or Julianson. And that's another thing. If these people on like message boards and Reddit and Twitter replies and Instagram and when they're doing when these college football shows do their mailbags and they're like, oh yeah, we need Nico Veva, Jackson Arnold. A lot of these guys need to start as freshmen. No, they don't. No, they don't. They will have their careers cut short. They will be big disappointments. uh, you can't just let these kids play as freshmen 90% of the time. There's the exceptions where it's okay. Like JJ, him getting reps at Michigan just to be, a different pace of quarterback and adding a different element to offense. Yes, that's fine. But you don't really see programs be successful when they start freshmen because they just don't have the experience. And they at least need a year. I seriously don't think there's a quarterback that is going to play right away as a freshman and be successful. Like freshman redshirt, yeah, that's fine. You took a year off and you're ready to play. You cannot just give them the keys right away. And for anyone that suggests that, like people thought that was going to happen with Arch Manning. Arch Manning needs development. I'm sorry, guys. Like I know he's got a perfect prospect rating, but watching his film, I'm not like, oh yes, this is the number one quarterback. When I watch Nico, I'm like, yeah, that's a guy. When I watch Jackson Arnold, I'm like, yeah, that's a guy. I don't see that with Arch Manning. Not yet. Obviously, he's got all the tools to be developed into a great quarterback and potentially be a great draft prospect. Like people are saying, oh, he's going to compete with Quinn Ewers to be the starting quarterback next season. Which I mean, yeah, but I think Quinn Ewers is proven. Like the guy's gotten a lot of Heisman hype. Like he's a good quarterback. He could have gone to the draft and been like a third round pick. And he didn't. He's staying, thank God. In Texas will be really good next year with obviously getting the transfer portal acquisitions that they did, especially in the receiving room. Like they just rebuilt that receiving room. They got Golden, Bolden, and Bond. Like, and they got God, what's his face coming back at tight end? Oh, Gunnar Helm. Gunnar Helm's coming back at tight end, which he was in there a decent amount this season. And they do a decent job of keeping guys back on their defense, get a couple transfer portal acquisitions. They'll be good. And I expect Xavier Watts to take a big step. And there's also a spring portal, guys. There is a spring portal. And I'm just checking my phone. Yeah, there's a spring portal, and that's gonna matter. And there's gonna be a guy like Keon Coleman last year that's gonna enter, and there's gonna be other guys like Sakari Franklin. I know he wasn't really anything at Ole Miss because injuries and stuff, but like he was a big time player at UTSA. I bet if he doesn't get hurt, he's a big time player at Ole Miss. And Ole Miss just had a loaded receiver room like Trey Watkins, Trey Harris, like a lot of studs. Pierkerson, there's a lot of these guys where you're just like, oh yeah, Ole Miss, and they've always had receivers, man. Yeah, but when I'm back to what I was saying, like I just don't think there's a freshman that's ever going to be ready to start. Like maybe one every like 3 cycles. Like I think the next quarterback that could is probably Underwood. I don't think there's a quarterback in this 2024 class that I'm like, ooh, I'm so excited. Like, no, I'm not. And it's just a realistic view at it. Like there's just no freshman that's ready to play. But you guys keep crazy. You guys get a lot of attention. You get a lot of talking going. So good job on that. Yeah, I think there's Ohio State's here. If they want to do it, they better do it. That's kind of how I thought about Michigan this year. I thought that if you don't do it, you're seen as a failure. Not a failure, just lack of what's the word? Disappointed. I wouldn't say failure, just disappointed. Because you've been waiting to take that step for a couple of years now, and obviously they did a job. They did the job that they needed to do. Like they were the number 2 team ranked all season. Georgia lost the game in the SEC championship, and wow, I'm doing the best Nick Saban impression right now, unintentionally. Uh, no, but yeah, Michigan did what they needed to do. What does the future look like for Michigan? I think it's going to be well. Obviously, I want to see who the head coach is, but if they do what I think they're gonna do and retain Sharon Moore, I think they keep a lot of continuity on this team. I feel like you'll see a couple guys on defense if Minter leaves hit the portal. But yeah, I mean, I think I don't even with Harbaugh, I didn't expect them to be a top 4 team, being quite honest. I think they're gonna be good. They also have a really hard schedule next year. Like, I would not be surprised to see 4 or 5 losses. Not because they're a bad team, but they're just playing so many great teams. I mean, they play Texas in week 2. Um, it'll be interesting. It will be. I know they didn't get a transfer portal quarterback in this cycle or this window. I think they want to assess the talent in the spring game and then kind of go from there. I think that's really honestly what they should do because there's going to be plenty of good kids that are going to be like, "Oh, I'm the number 2 guy," or "I'm not going to get as much reps," or "I'm not going to be playing that much in the season as I'd like to be." And Michigan's one of those places, man. They'll get you once you learn that system. Get in that weight room, get on the field with those guys. It's a different culture, man. I really do believe that Michigan's going to be a successor going forward. I don't think we're going to see the downfall of Michigan. This isn't the Last Dance documentary. Now, if the NCAA, this is the other part, right? The NCAA has big punishments for Michigan. We might see it. We might actually see it. That's something that's going to have to wait and come. And to be honest, I think that's one of the big reasons why Harbaugh left. He doesn't want to be a part of that, and I know they're trying to work and negotiate stuff in his contract because you could technically get punished for stuff even if you still join a different league. Like you could still get suspended for NFL games. I don't think that's gonna happen. I don't. Yeah. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens. But I wanted to say one final thing. Thank you for listening. Enjoy the podcast. If you do, like, subscribe, share. Once again, because you already should be doing it, especially if you're listening all the way through. Me and Robby will most likely have an episode out on Sunday or Monday. And yeah, we'll be talking about transfer portal stuff, all that good stuff, coach carousel. I just can tell I'm losing my focus if you can't tell by my eyes. Yeah. Just wanted to crank an episode out. Obviously, Jim Harbaugh leaving really matters. Because it's significant, especially if it leads to more dominoes falling. I don't think it will. I think they'll keep Sharon. And yeah, who will replace Michigan at OC? That's a good question. All right. Thank you guys. Thank you for listening.